Hey y'all, welcome to the thetreesstarebackpodcast. This is the second time I'm saying this because someone didn't plug in our mic.
I'm sorry, okay? You got an entire wire, you gotta plug it into the phone. It's a process.
Anyways, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Morgan, and this is my co-host who's about to be let go from his job.
My name's Eric, and if you're watching, this is our cat Pete. If you're listening, just imagine...
Oh, she smacked you!
Imagine a furry beach ball or something.
She's a beautiful tortoiseshell cat, and how dare you. On this podcast, it's like a storytelling podcast, I would call it. We read stories that are sent in to us. We're not doing that today. This one's a little bit different. But if you have any stories to send us, please send them to thetreesstarebackpodcast@gmail.com, and it'll be on the screen if you're watching.
Today's episode, we're going to be diving into the haunted objects that we've collected, starting with the painting of a French girl, all the way down to haunted dolls that nearly caught our house on fire.
They did catch our house on fire. What do you mean nearly? I saw flames.
All that was on fire was the water heater.
I'm sorry.
Your boy put it out.
Yes, you did, but it was so scary. Also, they flooded the house. I don't know if you said that, but the house flooded.
Well, we'll get into that, too. I mean, there's going to be a whole manner of things that these dolls have done to this house.
Yeah. We have so much to talk about, but like I said, please send in your stories because next week we will get back to business as usual with reading stories. And I think pretty soon we are going to be doing a whole episode on Ouija boards, which I'm really excited about. So specifically, if you have any Ouija board stories, I'd really like to have those.
Ouija board stories would be amazing. And we can continue doing the haunted objects as well. If you have anything involving haunted objects, whether they were yours, a family member's, something you've seen, please absolutely send those in.
I love a haunted object story.
Yeah, I bet you would, considering we have 15 of them.
I think we have 4. No, we have way more than that. We have like 4 dolls. But to start this off, I guess we will get into our haunted painting, which I think is the first thing we acquired.
At least one of the first things. It's definitely when activity ramped up, I would say.
Because we got this painting in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
But this painting is actually a really famous painting.
Mm-hmm.
Little Irene is a Renoir original painted in, I believe, 1860?
No, it says 1880.
1880. It was painted in 1880. Irene was a real little girl. Her family were very wealthy bankers, and Renoir was actually commissioned by her father to paint a portrait of Irene and a separate painting called Pink and Blue of her siblings, which is also a Renoir original.
Mm-hmm.
But fun fact, Irene's painting was hated by her father. Which is insane to me.
Considering it was his daughter.
I am not here to knock a dead man's taste. But it is crazy work that he did not like that painting. He actually kept it in the servants' quarters of his home so he didn't have to look at it.
We'll put up a picture if you're watching. If you're listening, definitely look it up. This is one of the most beautiful paintings from its era.
I will actually post pictures on the Tree Stareback Podcast Instagram account of the actual painting and, like, our copy.
That'd be good.
She's stunning. Like, I don't know what this man was on because she is stunning. But no, he hated it so much that he withheld Renoir's payment for a really long time, which I think is crazy. Because, again, stunning.
Oh, he bought this painting. Oh, I'm so stupid. I this whole time thought that little Irene's dad was Renoir, and I thought he had painted it.
No, he commissioned it.
Because I'm an idiot.
No, you're fine. Her family, and I'm pretty sure her dad was a really wealthy banker.
Yeah, that's
really wealthy.
Yeah, I think so.
So after that, I want to talk a little bit about Irene, just as a person.
About the history of the person.
Because her life was really interesting, and especially the life that her children would lead. So Irene would grow up, get married, and have a son and a daughter with a man, end up having a spicy affair with a stable boy, leaving her husband for him, getting with the stable boy, having another daughter, and then leaving that man.
Yikes.
Irene is a legend, honestly. She followed her own vices, okay?
Oh, okay.
She knew what she wanted, and she went for it. But Irene actually would... You know what? We'll get into that in a second, because I want to go ahead and talk about what happened with her kids, and then I'll talk about the end of her life. So she had a son who was a fighter pilot in France, I believe it was.
Yeah, France during the Second World War.
Yes, where he did unfortunately lose his life. She did have a second daughter as well, and these are both with her first husband. And the second daughter had the crime of being Jewish. She committed the crime of being Jewish during a time when, you know.
And unfortunately, her and her family would be sent to Auschwitz.
Yep, where they would have their lives taken, like so many other people did. As far as the daughter that she had with the stable boy, she keeps to herself. She lives a quiet life. I have no idea what she's doing, but I hope she is thriving.
So, Irene herself would flee to Paris to hide during the Second World War, and hid underneath an Italian name. She would stay there until 1963, when she would pass away at the age of 91. Little Irene actually has paintings, in addition to it, of her siblings called Pink and Blue.
I already talked about that.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Oh. But these paintings, Pink and Blue, as well as Little Irene, were recovered in 1946 because these paintings were actually stolen by the and they were
Wait, is that word like... Oh, I guess this will be on YouTube.
This will be on YouTube, yeah.
I don't think you can say that on there. Yeah, by the bad people.
Yeah.
During that time. They stole a whole lot of paintings, but these two are one of them.
And these two paintings were given the rightful title of masterpiece, because they absolutely are. And if you have Pink and Blue, and you're wanting to sell it without bankrupting us, please, we are looking to buy.
I know, you can find cheap prints of it, but I have this thing, and I'll tell it in a second, the way we found Irene, I just want to find Pink and Blue that way too, just organically.
Absolutely.
Anytime we go antiquing and stuff, I keep my eye out for it. But with that being said, let's get into how we got this painting, because it's interesting.
So back in 2019, I was just going on Facebook Marketplace just for fun, and I saw this painting. Or did you find it?
I was on Facebook Marketplace.
You were on Facebook Marketplace. Okay, so Morgan was on Facebook Marketplace, and she finds this painting. I think it was on sale for like, what, $15, $20?
It was $20.
It was so cheap. And she was like, hey, listen, this painting, it's really nice, and something about it is just calling me.
Like, I felt like I had to buy it.
Yeah.
And also, can we talk about the fact... Okay, so let me walk you through the rest of the time first. We contact the person that was selling it, and she instantly was like, I can meet you now.
Yeah.
Which is kind of strange. And so we were like, okay, we had to drive 35, 40 minutes away to Kingsport, Tennessee to get it. And we stopped at the bank, we went, gave her cash for it, and then came home. But she was, like, eager to get rid of that painting.
No, she, like, seemed like she needed to get rid of this painting.
Yeah. So, we bring it home, and I think literally the day we brought it home, activity started. Now, I did hang her in a separate section in my house. You guys can't see, but she's literally on the other side of this wall of Eric's head. In her own little spot, but she was hanging somewhere else in our dining room, and I don't think she liked it.
No,
there.
she definitely didn't like it there.
Because she tilted worse there, and that's when all of this stuff happened. So, let's get into everything that has happened since we brought little Irene into the house up until we decided how to coexist with her.
Exactly, and like you said, we put her on a wall where she would tilt. But not only would she tilt, every painting that's on this wall would also tilt. No matter how many times we corrected it, no matter how many times we would center it and level it, they were always crooked.
Well, it wasn't just that wall. I don't know if you remember it, but, okay, so we have, when you walk into our house, we used to have this wall of pictures. We called it a memory wall. And it would have, like, sentimental stuff, but also pictures of family members. And for some reason, only the pictures of family members would tilt.
Yeah.
And they would be, like, noticeably tilted. I have pictures from it. I also went through this phase where I would draw things on poster boards, and they were hung somewhere in our living room, and they would all just, like, fall, except for being on one tack. It was really weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not only did she tilt, she made everything else tilt as well.
And now we've since moved Irene. There's this little space of wall in between one of the doors of our house and the kitchen, and it's only for her, and she seems to like it, but if anything happens, if she's just disturbed at all, she will still tilt, but she will also, her face in the painting, she has like, kind of like a nonchalant, kind of an apathetic expression. We've seen this change into a deep scowl.
And fun fact, and I can have Eric insert a picture of this, I was telling this story on TikTok once, and for some reason, it was when I think you still can do it now. I think it's called overlay on TikTok now, but it used to be a part of the green screen where you could just like move around the pictures. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, the picture had moved from one corner to the other. And when it moved to the other corner, she is scowling in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that before, but you can see her scowl.
I remember that, yeah.
And it's the exact scowl that I see in person on that painting when she's upset. Mm-hmm. And it happened whenever, in the video, I was talking about the real Irene's death. But she does scowl, especially... So, if you come into my house, you have to greet Irene, or you're not going to have a good time. And it's been like that since we got her. Your stuff will go missing. We've had people say they've had nightmares about her.
Yeah.
She tilts. Things get thrown. You need to respect the painting. And some people even come into our house and leave her little offerings, like coins and stuff. Yeah. But, really, if you come into the house... You just walk into my kitchen and say, hello, Irene, and go about your business, and then everything's fine. But, yeah, we've had quite a few people that make jokes out of it and don't come back.
No, yeah, they just... I mean, I think it was one of our friends. He lives about an hour or so away. He said that... I think it was the first time that he came over. He either didn't say hi to her or he, like, made a joke about her being haunted. He said on the way home he had nothing but severe panic attacks the entire way home.
Yeah, and then had a nightmare about her that night. She does not like it. It's literally just a respect thing, though, I think.
Which I feel like is fair.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm existing in this space, too. You need to say hi to me. And I feel like that's fair. Something creepy that happened, and I don't know if you remember this or not. I had this woman reach out to me on TikTok, and I think I had briefly touched on that painting. But I was just telling a story. And she was like, hey, I'm a medium, and I keep seeing this, like, little girl with red hair around you in your videos. Mm-hmm. And I think it's Irene. But I do want to get into the fact that I don't think the actual Irene is haunting this copy.
No, absolutely
not. That is an insane take, and I am not claiming that at all.
I definitely think it's just some sort of spirit or energy that's, like...
Manifesting to look like her, too.
Manifesting to look like her. Like, it definitely, like, found this painting and was like, I like that. I want to be that.
Yeah, I don't think it's her at all. I don't think she's haunting anything, but if she's going to be haunting anything, it would be the one that's in the museum right now.
Right, the actual one.
I think it's in the Smithsonian Museum. I'm almost positive it is.
It might be.
But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. I am not claiming that the real Irene is haunting this painting. In fact, I am certain she is not.
And when we got this painting, I think we've definitely spiritually matured. Since, because the activity was kind of rampant, but now I think we've definitely learned how to coexist with Irene, how to make her comfortable, and I think she definitely acts as some sort of house spirit for us. She's definitely helped us in a lot of situations, I think at least.
Yeah, I think she definitely watches over us, but it's literally just about respecting things. No, a little funny side note, this isn't scary in the slightest, but... We were watching The Golden Girls one night. I don't know if you remember this or not.
I remember it.
But if you don't know anything about The Golden Girls, it's these 4 older women that live together as roommates, and one of them works in an art gallery. And this episode was of that one at work. And Eric just looked in the background.
And it's just Irene just hanging out.
Because, of course, she's, like, famous. You know, of course she'd be in an art gallery. But Eric said, is that Irene?
We should include a screenshot in the Instagram post.
Yes. Oh, my God. She's been in other stuff, too. I can't think of... There was a lot of stuff.
No, there was a lot of stuff, but yeah.
But it's a very famous painting, so that makes sense. There was something else I was going to touch on with her, and that's it. So I told this story on TikTok, and someone reached out to me, and they were like, hey, I just bought a new house, and we were demoing a room, and there was a copy of Little Irene tucked behind the walls.
Oh my God, that's right.
And when they pulled it out, Paranormal Activity went crazy. So I don't know if this one's just, like, a really famous painting that spirits like to latch to, or what, but, yeah, that was something. Sense. That is not the only story that I've heard of something happening with this painting. There's several.
I don't know if it's just the aura of this painting, if it's just some sort of, like, spiritual magnet, but, like...
I don't know. It's wild, though.
Yeah, it's huge.
But that is our Little Irene story. Yeah, I'll probably, when I post on Instagram, I'll post pictures of our copy of Little Irene, and I'll post pictures of the dolls that you need to look at with your own discretion. I'll put those at the end. and the other stuff. So you'll see all of these objects on Instagram if you're not watching here. But if you're watching here, they'll be on the screen.
And definitely make sure to say hi, Irene.
Yeah, make sure to say hi, Irene, as you go.
So the next thing that we have to talk about as far as a haunted item, I don't know if I would necessarily describe this specific item as haunted, but we have this painting. Had this painting. I really don't know where we got it from or why we never hung it up, but it sat in a corner of our room near an entertainment center up against a wall. And we had this painting sitting down here for, at least about a year, until we brought one of our cats home, Brewer. Brewer is our second male cat, and he's a cat. He doesn't really, he eats food, he poops, he's just a cat. He's not done anything crazy is what I'm getting at. He's not done anything that's like of note. And one day,
that's not true. That's something I left out.
Oh?
Brewer plays with Irene. Like, he looks
Brewer
at her.
Does play with Irene.
I have videos of it. Like, he's notorious for staring into paintings. So
he's definitely like
clairvoyant
cat. Of stuff, because this cat, we were sitting downstairs. I don't really remember what we were doing, but Brewer is just like face up against this painting, just staring at it. Specifically, he's staring in. So this painting is of this little girl that's sitting in a barn, and you see this like little bit of the view outside of the barn where there's like animals and a house and stuff. Brewer is looking past this girl out into the outside of the barn, and like I was like, okay, he maybe saw his reflection or something like that. Every day for a month until we moved this painting, he would sit for hours and just stare.
And I posted this on TikTok, and people were like, well, sometimes older paintings, because it is older, gets little bugs in them. So I took the whole frame apart, and there was literally nothing.
No bugs, no.
And it's not his reflection. Like, he was following something around the frame.
Because he would look at this at night.
Yeah, when there was no reflection to be had. But actually, we got the paintings, because there was 2 of them.
There were 2 paintings.
Something happened with the other one that we will get into in a second. My mom actually brought those into our house. She got them secondhand for herself.
That's right.
And said that they creeped her out so bad she couldn't keep them in her house.
Mm-hmm.
So we hung one up on our stairs, and for some reason we just didn't hang up the other one. It just sat there. I think we were trying to find a place for it. But yeah, that is what happened. But let's get into the second one.
The second painting. If you follow Morgan on TikTok, you've already seen it, because this is the painting. I think this is right after we were having a bit of a bad case of mimic activity. You were doing a book review on TikTok, and out of nowhere, this painting just slams onto the ground.
Like, it was as if it got thrown from the stairs, and I don't know how it didn't cut me. I really don't, because
it almost did. The glass was everywhere.
It was literally everywhere. But that was the painting that went with it. So I don't know if it was haunted or not. I kind of think something was using it, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think the painting itself was haunted. Like, a conduit, is that the name? I just think something was using it. Because, like, I got the vibes that something picked up that frame and threw it.
It's just weird that it's, like, 2 of the paintings that came from, like, the same source.
It is weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm down for theories, though, if anyone has any in the comments, because that was really strange.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, well, I guess we can't post the links yet. If you want to go see that video, just check out Morg's Hauntings on TikTok.
You can insert it into the video on YouTube.
I can do that.
So if you extract the audio first and then edit the video after and insert the clip, can you do that?
I'll if you're listening to this on Spotify, I'm not going to include anything.
Honestly, you could include it, because you can hear the glass shatter and me scream.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, if you're listening to this on Spotify, in a second you're going to hear the glass shatter, you're going to hear Morgan scream, but of course if you're watching, you're about to see it. And this video is available on TikTok as well.
I actually deleted it.
Oh my god, did you delete it? Oh no.
So it's not available on TikTok.
So yeah,
here and here only.
Here and here only.
I think it involves kids.
Okay, well I think he's okay, but I'll check him in a second.
So
I need a room. You sure you're okay?
Yeah. The next object that I want to get into is one of my personal favorites, And that is the devil statue. And that is everyone's least favorite thing on TikTok. Listen, he's just a misunderstood little guy. I don't know why you're groaning.
He's just a misunderstood amalgamation of car parts.
He's just misunderstood, okay? But I want to get on to this story because we found him at an antique store. And you know what? Let's just get into it because there's a lot that happened that day.
There's a lot, yeah.
So this place is in Abingdon, Virginia, and it is called the Antique Barn. And it is literally the most expensive antique place I've ever been to in my life. And honestly, this statue is no different. We were walking around this store. It's huge. And we came to the farthest back corner in the back. I swear to God, in this booth that had... I don't remember what it
really, like, the best thing I could describe is everything else about this little area had, like small antiques, like glasses and stuff like that. And the rest was, like, farm decor. It had, like... You know, like the cornbread, like cast iron, where it makes like the bread look like corn.
But I thought you were calling me cornbread.
You
just
cornbread,
now, and I was like, cool.
You cornbread banjo.
But yeah, we go back to this corner, and I was not looking in the booths, honestly, in the back. I think I was disassociating, which makes this a whole lot creepier. But for some reason, we get to this last booth, and my head just snaps right.
No, I found this one. Yeah. Oh wait, no wait.
No, I was walking by myself, and I came and got you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was thinking of something else.
No, you're good. But my head snapped around, and I was just staring at this devil statue in the floor. Just in the middle of the floor. Nothing was around him. He was just by himself. And I just kind of stared at it for a second. And I got this awful feeling in my stomach. Like, I was nauseous. And I went and got you guys, and you looked at it, and we went over to it. And the reason I call it the devil statue is because there was a tag hanging off of it within quotation marks. It said... the devil. Like, it's not just something I made up, but it looks as though it's made of car parts.
Yeah, it's like made of gears, and it's made of like, it's also like just cast iron. It's like all
definitely
spot welded.
An art piece. Yeah.
But it's like, and obviously we're gonna post pictures of it. You're gonna see it. But this is like one of the most cartoon looking devils that there is. But something interesting about this, and we'll get into this later. There are one or two spots of this thing that looks like it's specifically meant for holding incense cones. Because when we cleaned it, that's what we used was incense cones.
Yeah, and we put it in those spots. Yeah, it was actually really cool. I don't know if that was done on purpose or not.
But, unfortunately, we did not buy that statue that day.
No.
We went back
about a week later.
No, we went back, I think, like a couple of days after.
I thought it was a week. Anyways, yeah, we did. I remember we had to ride to Abingdon for something. And I just kept telling you, I was like, I regret not getting that statue. It was all I thought about. Like, every day, I remember talking to you, I was like, I wish we would have gotten that freaking statue.
Oh, we were talking about this while we were setting up about, like, what had actually happened. I finally remember exactly what happened.
Go for it.
We were getting on the interstate to go back home, and we were talking about the devil statue, and I was like, well, should we go get it? And ultimately, that same day, we decided, no, probably not. The second we get on the interstate, our parking brake in our car just completely fails. We were fine to drive, but
it went down.
It completely, from that day forward, we were no longer able to use the parking brake. One of our tires, went completely flat. I had to pull over and, fill it up. And then finally we were like, okay, maybe we should go get the statue.
But we didn't even put that as a correlation. We just decided to go get it. So we go in there to buy the statue. $80, and we bring it home, and I'm not gonna lie, we had some rough paranormal activity for a second, but we did cleanse it, and literally nothing's happened.
No, yeah,
he's chilling.
That's kind of what's wild to me about this piece is some of the other haunted objects that we've had in life, or even just activity. It's we cleanse it and it stops for a second, but this is nothing else has happened. Now he's just an art piece that hangs out on top of a bookshelf, yeah. I
have no, basis to prove this, but do you also feel like that drive that we were getting was just, him choosing a home? It's we were supposed to have him. There was nothing bad attached to it or anything like that. It's just something we were supposed to have.
No, he just sort of, made sure that we got him.
Yeah. Because he's fine. He's literally in the entryway of our house. He greets everyone. He scares the holy shit out of everyone. But he's there. I love him. He's a misunderstood little guy.
He was fun lifting up on top of that bookshelf.
He's heavy.
He is heavy.
He is a heavy boy. But I think that's everything, unless something else starts happening with him. He's chilling. That's everything with him. But I didn't include it in our notes, but we do have a Ouija board that I wouldn't mind touching on a tad. I don't want to get too into it because of the episode, but
It definitely would be considered haunted.
yeah. We have a little handmade Ouija board. It is so tiny.
I think we got it on Etsy.
We did, yeah. Because I thought it would be... A witch made it. And whenever I was getting into it... Because I was so scared of Ouija boards. And I was like, you know what? If I own one, I want it to be made by a witch who probably put protections on it and knows what she's doing. But we contacted...
She probably did, but...
Yeah, but here comes Z to ruin everything.
Well, okay, so that's the thing is, like... This is the situation where it's like an object is haunted... in a way because of us, because in a way Z is attached to us, so any Ouija board that we ever use
we destroy
is basically just tainted from then on. But you're right, yeah, we've cleansed it,
I will say the last time we used it was a lot better whenever you did that prayer and we did the salt circle and everything.
It was better, but like he was still there.
Yeah, I don't plan on ever using it again, but now it's just kind of chilling up there. I'm about to put it in its own blessed box because I don't know what to do with it.
I mean, to be fair, it's not really causing any negative stuff to happen, but it's just like... But yeah, we'll get into that in the Ouija board video.
Yeah, but I did want to... It is technically haunted, so I thought we should touch on it. So consider it touched on.
Official.
Consider it touched on. Look forward to all of that in our Ouija board episode because that's going to be a really long one.
Yeah.
Because a lot has happened. But now I want to talk about a haunted medicine cabinet that we have that has been in my family for a very long time. This one actually coincides with the doll stories because if it wasn't for this freaking medicine cabinet, we wouldn't have gotten the dolls.
Exactly.
So, do you want me to get into this one?
You got this one.
All right.
We'll do the dolls together.
Alrighty. So, this medicine cabinet... I apologize intensely. This medicine cabinet hung in my dad's childhood home. And that childhood home is now falling apart on my family's farm. It's supposed to be torn down this year. There's a documentary being filmed about the farm. The house is literally staying up right now just for that. And then it's going to be torn down because it is a hazard to the cows that are there. Because when I say it's falling down, I am so serious. You cannot walk on the floor in some parts.
Yeah.
The ceiling's caved in. Like, it's awful. So... they're kind of scared that a cow's going to wander past the gate in there and just get hurt. So it is going to be torn down. But anyways, at this point, I think it was last year when this happened, before the documentary was talked about, my dad was actually going to tear it down last year. And so I was like, okay, well, I really want this medicine cabinet and I need to go in there and take some pictures for relatives who can't go through there. Because like I said, it is dangerous. And me and you went. Ready to get this medicine cabinet, and we filmed the entire event in there. Well, almost instantly, I found these dolls. But we're not talking about the dolls.
No, we'll get into the dolls. But this medicine cabinet surely has not disappointed in terms of haunted shit that's happened.
No. And the way it's not in pristine condition by any means. But it hung in the kitchen of that house. And the fact that it was in such good shape when an entire wall of that kitchen is missing, and up on that farm it gets like 7 to 8 feet of snow is insane.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how it was so pristine. But anyways, we get it. You somehow get it off that wall with a tire iron, I think.
Yeah.
And we brought it home. And I will get into what happened here because it's a lot. But I want to tell you the reason I know it's haunted and the reason that I wanted it so badly. So my grandfather had a lot of paranormal experiences growing up that he would tell me about. He would see the devil, what he thought was the devil in the barn, or something that he was so bad he could only equate it to the devil. He had a ton of stuff happen to him. But one story that I loved so much was the woman in this medicine cabinet. So like I said, this medicine cabinet hung in their kitchen, and every morning he would get up, go to that medicine cabinet, get out his medicine, and take it at the kitchen sink. Well, he would so many times see the reflection of this woman. This, like, she's in old-timey clothes. She has her hair up. Just in this medicine cabinet. And I loved that story growing up so much. And whenever I found out they were tearing the house down, they weren't getting anything out, I was like, okay, that's definitely still on the wall. I'm going to take that medicine cabinet. So we did. And we bring it home, along with the dolls, but we will get into that. And we put both of them under the stairs because they need to be cleaned. Not only spiritually, they were disgusting.
Yeah.
They were in fine shape, but it needed to be cleaned. So we just put it under the stairs and waited for a second, and some stuff started happening. I think the first thing that happened was and we didn't know these were correlated at all. Like, we had to put the pieces together. But correct me if I'm wrong, I think the first thing that happened was you left to go get us some ice cream, I think, one night, and I stayed upstairs in the bedroom, and I was sitting on the bed, and I felt something looking at me.
Yeah.
And I looked up at the door, and I see this woman. Keep in mind, I had never seen the woman in this medicine cabinet mirror. I knew what my grandfather described. I had never seen her. But I see a woman that was a lot like he described. And I didn't really put it together then, but I did see her. And I remember calling you on the phone and telling you that I saw her. I didn't describe her to you, I don't think. Did I? I just said a woman.
You just said I'm seeing a woman.
Yeah, so you came home, everything was fine. Later that night, we were sitting in the bedroom, and you were like, okay, Eric sees, it's a little different now, but you used to only see things in your mind that were happening.
Yeah.
That kind of through your mind's eye. And we were sitting in the bedroom, and he was like, there is a woman pacing up and down the stairs. And I said, what does she look like? And he described the exact woman that I had seen at the door. Mm-hmm. And I think I saw her another time, too. But we later put together, that mirror was right under the stairs.
Yeah.
She was probably confused on where the hell she was.
Exactly, yeah.
And, yeah. So that happened with the medicine cabinet. That medicine cabinet is now outside with the dolls because we couldn't really gauge what caused the fire and the flood. And I don't think we wanted to take any chances, but I can guarantee it was the dolls.
Yeah.
But that medicine cabinet is outside now.
Yeah, the medicine cabinet's outside. The dolls themselves are... Well, I guess we'll get into the dolls in a second.
Yeah. But I think that's it with the... Did anything else happen with the medicine cabinet?
So, something else happened, and... Well, okay, so the medicine cabinet was there with the fire and the flood, right?
Yes.
So the medicine cabinet was where there were... With the fire and the flood, we'll get into that here in just a bit. But it was also under the stairs with the dolls when you fell down the steps and tore your ligament in your ankle. Yeah.
That was during that time?
Yeah. We have lived in this house for almost 6 years, and I think this is around like the 4-year mark when this happened. Morgan was coming down the steps holding a laundry basket, and now, like, our steps are kind of narrow and they do curve, but she's been up and down the stairs countlessly, and out of nowhere she just falls down like 3 steps and like tears one of the ligaments in her ankle.
Tore my tendon.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were under the stairs when that happened.
Yeah.
Something else creepy that happened when, okay, the fire's one thing because it was pretty contained to the water heater, but that mirror and those dolls were right there when it flooded, like where the water was spewing out. Not damaged at all.
No, not damaged.
I don't even think they were wet.
They were wet, but they didn't get damaged.
Okay. But that's, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and also, we have a baker's rack at the landing of our steps about where it curves, and not less than a few times has that baker's rack gone flying down the steps to the point where I have put a hook in the wall and tied string around it.
That did happen when those were under the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even put that together until just now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Also, something... Well, I guess we can just go ahead and jump right into the dolls.
Is that all that happened with the medicine cabinet?
Well, medicine cabinet with
I guess
the
this
dolls.
is both intertwined. Yeah. Yeah, let's get into these freaking dolls. Side note, whenever we were in the house getting these dolls, I took a video trying to show the dolls, and Eric was outside, but he's behind me in the video.
Yeah.
And it definitely was not him. You can't even see the face. Like, it's very creepy. This was just an all-around real bad day.
I'll actually be including that video in a video that I'm uploading at the end of the week. So
on YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, check out Morg's Hauntings on YouTube, and you can see this video that she's talking about right now.
Yeah, that was one of the scariest things that I've ever seen. Oh, God. But, yeah, let's get into these dolls, because...
Yeah, the first thing I want to say about these dolls, though, before we've gotten about how we got them, is no one in your family claims them.
No.
At all. Not Leela, and no one could confirm if they were Brenda's.
It's creepy to me because it's not like this house was just up and abandoned. My family's been in and out. They've looked over the house to see if they want to save anything. They've definitely been in that little room under the stairs where we found these dolls.
It's like a little, like, utility closet.
Yeah.
Like a broom closet.
And there was just this mound of dolls. But someone's definitely seen them. And it's not like someone just came in there. Well, I guess they could have. Like, someone just stumbled in there and tossed these cursed dolls in there.
But they looked like they had been there for decades. It looked like
they had been there. And some of them were broken. And I don't know. But I remember the reason I took them... Because I took them out of the house.
3 dolls, yeah.
3 or 4, yeah. But I got one of my reusable shopping bags out of my car, put the dolls in it, because I felt like I had to. I don't know if it was me being scared that it was a relatives and they were going to get destroyed and the house was down, or I don't know if it was something a lot more sinister, but I felt like I needed to take them. And I remember we left that house. You have to pass by my parents' house to get out of that farm. And we stopped there and we were like, hey, were these Brenda's, which is my aunt, and she collected porcelain dolls. No one recognized them.
No.
Literally at all. So I just took them home because I didn't want to, like, let something, like, willingly let them get destroyed.
Yeah.
But yeah, we brought them home, and like I said, put them underneath the stairs waiting to be cleaned up, and chaos ensued.
Yeah. I mean, so much happened. And, like, I'm not necessarily saying the dolls were responsible for all of it, but, like, so much negative. Like, 2 of our cats died. Our dog died. You fell down the steps.
Like, I'm pretty sure something else happened around that time as well that was, like, really detrimental. The paranormal activity I remember we had was unlike anything else. That was that during the mimic time? It was definitely while it was happening.
I don't know if it started with the mimics.
No, but it definitely made it worse.
Yeah, it definitely vamped it up. I mean, I honestly think that's when we started hearing the mimics. Originally, we were just seeing them.
Maybe.
Of course, that could just be a correlating event, but, like, I don't know.
So much paranormal activity happened that I don't think I could sit here and name it all. But I had forgotten that the baker's rack flew down the stairs whenever that was underneath it.
Yeah.
But I think the most noteworthy things that happened with those dolls was the flood and the fire.
Yeah, the flood and the fire.
So let's get into that.
So the first thing that happened was actually the fire.
Yes.
Basically what had happened, and now I'm not going to sit here and say that it was a completely random and unexpected fire, but it happened when the dolls went underneath there. So what happened was, and when we say under the steps, we have our steps, like I said, they curve and they go up. Downstairs, we have a downstairs bathroom, and the washing machine, dryer sit in front of a kind of like a utility space underneath the steps where our water heater is. One of the elements went bad in our water heater, so I decided I was going to change it. And, you know, I'm not, like, novice. I've done work on water heater. I've done customer service for water heaters. I understand how these things work. I install the element just fine. I put everything back together, and I think it was something with the insulation. I think a lot of the insulation for the water heater had gotten wet, because the minute that I cut the circuit back on, this thing bursts into flames. And, like, you know, immediately we get our animals out. But the first thing...
That's a funny story.
Yeah.
Because I called 911.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I said our address, and I said, house on fire, getting cats. I gotta go get my cats.
And they were like, no, don't do that.
No, and I hung up.
Yeah.
I hung up on them, and then, like, the fire people get here. Eric had already put out the fire. Luckily, it was not that bad. We did get really lucky. That could have been bad.
It was kind of like contained within the water heater itself.
Yeah. But the fire department got here, and they checked out the house, and we had all of our animals together. And one of the firefighters walked up to me, and he was like, you went back in to get your cats? That's why we got here so quick. They said you're going back in to get your cats. I thought I'd be pulling you out. Don't do that.
They yelled at you.
I said, I'm going to get my cats. And he said, I understand, but I have to tell you not to.
But no, yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think this fire was correlating to the dolls, is because it didn't burn down our house. It just scared the shit out of us.
Yeah. But, I mean, when it comes to the flood, there was actually a bit of damage.
Oh, yeah. So, that brings us to our second point. So, we had the water heater, and I was going to fix, like, a leak.
Also, we had a new water heater at this point.
Yeah, it was a brand new water heater, but the water heater wasn't the issue in this one. The issue was our incoming water valve. So I'm downstairs and I'm tightening it to turn off the leak. And, like, I have Morgan on the phone. She's upstairs and, like, is the leak stopping? And she's like, no. So I keep tightening and tightening it. And out of nowhere, the handheld valve of this incoming water shutoff valve fires off. It fires off, goes behind me, and it's just a torrent of water.
And here's exactly what I hear.
Yeah,
Sounds like an
Noah,
ogre.
It's Noah's flood down there, and I'm fighting for my life trying to get the valve back on.
No, I ran down here, and I just see you, like, trying to stop water, and you were like, help!
We get the water turned off.
Not before it floods 2 inches of our first floor.
Thankfully, that was the worst of it. It was just, like, the first floor got, like, wet. Some of the things that were downstairs obviously got too wet to save, like, some wrapping paper and some like, copy paper and stuff like that.
Fun fact, if you look on Google Maps, they chose that day.
Oh, yeah, we were pushing water out.
You could just see our blankets everywhere.
That was rough.
Just water in the...
God, that was such a bad time.
My eyes are watering. But no, yeah, the fact that there was that much water, and it was literally right in front of where that water was spewing out those dolls and medicine cabinet were, and they just were not damaged.
No.
In the slightest.
Soaked, but yeah, they were not damaged.
Yeah.
So, it was that day, and I think for the sake of keeping them from getting damaged, we put them outside to dry. And that's when we noticed activity stopped.
Yeah.
So, we have a deep freezer that no longer works, and I just hadn't thrown away. So we put the dolls and the medicine cabinet in this deep freezer.
And they haven't moved since.
But that's not where activity stops.
You're right!
One day, we invite Morgan's mom over because we're cleaning up her porch because, like, a bunch of vines and stuff had grown around it. And Morgan's inside, her mom and I are just out there on the porch, we're just cleaning up, and we hear a noise.
I hear a screech, and it was my mother.
Yeah, well, her and I had heard a noise right before anything happened. Out of nowhere, the corner of our porch, which, keep in mind, has been up for years.
And also had been holding this deep freezer for years.
Yeah, well before. And it had been up well before. And, like, it would be one thing if it was, like, there was some damage, but there wasn't. There wasn't any rot. There wasn't anything. It just, one of the corners just collapses inward. Your mom had to stop herself from falling down, and you hear her scream, you come running out. And, like...
She was like, don't come out here. Don't come out here.
And the thing about it is, like... I would get it if it was, like, a safety hazard, but I've been out on that porch. Like, I had been out on that porch after it happened, and it just, like, nothing. Like, no give, no leeway. It's just, like, for no reason at all, it just sank.
I actually forgot to tell that story online anywhere.
Oh,
that was really creepy, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a new story that you guys just heard, because I haven't told that anywhere.
Yeah.
I need to. I forgot that happened, and I forgot that we were like, yeah, it's definitely correlating to the dolls. It had to be, because, like, that deep freezer had been out there for years before we put those dolls in there. And you're right, the porch had been out there forever. So, like, what was the reason? And you're right, it's steady. It's not like the porch is falling apart. It's sturdy.
And it happened, like, right where the deep freezer was.
That one little corner. And it's not like a that was too heavy thing. Our entire, like, is it called an HVAC unit?
Yeah.
Is on the other side of that porch. If anything was gonna...
furnace and freezer, or AC unit.
Yeah, if anything was going to fall, it would have been that corner. Because that is heavy. And it didn't. The porch is sturdy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yikes. I forgot about that. I think I'm trying to make sure that that's all of our haunted objects. I think it is. Although, we'll probably buy more. So.
I mean, we've had objects here and there that's, like, had negative energy towards it. The car that you had whenever we first got together saw quite a bit of activity. You would see creatures sitting in your back seat.
Oh, the woman that used to sit in the back seat when I drove to your house at night.
Mm-hmm.
I almost crashed my car the first time I saw her.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a rough car. Oof.
And the car that we had before, the one we have now.
Boom.
This car, first of all, sucked. But, like...
Oh, the Malibu?
One of the things that happened... Oh my god, I think it did.
Some secrets are coming out.
When we first got the dolls, before we brought them in the house, they stayed in the trunk of this car. And one day, we wake up, we get in our car, and we go driving. This was in the winter, and of course everything is frosted over. We're driving down the road. Easily a good, 20 minutes we've been on the road. And, the heating in this car also sucked, but, it eventually would defrost. But we noticed the back windshield isn't defrosting. So I pull over, I'm not sure what's going on. I get my scraper. Turns out it wasn't that the window had not defrosted, it shattered. Completely cracked all over the entire windshield. I had backed in the night before. There is nothing above our house, and all of our neighbors really like us, so there's no one who would have just shattered it. It was out of nowhere, it just spontaneously just destroyed.
Do you remember driving down the road to the glass place to get a new windshield and just hearing it just...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just cracking? And we were like...
We also had a few tires pop in that car while the deals were in it.
Deals?
Yeah, deals.
We had really bad luck with that car in general, but yeah, now that you mention it, I forgot that we'd left the dolls in that trunk.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot that's when the windshield popped.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, they're never coming out of the deep freezer.
No.
We're just going to leave that deep freezer here.
That deep freezer is now a Dybbuk box.
What are we going to do with it? Genuinely.
I don't know, man.
We're probably going to have to get another box to put them in and just keep them with us and keep them cleansed.
I want to put it in a box and lock it with a padlock.
Yeah.
I'm not even exaggerating. I think these dolls are, worthy of being in, the Warren Museum.
Yeah. I would never let some people that have museums get their hands on them, though, because...
Zach.
That man gives me anxiety with these objects. He's like, this object has killed 20 people that have looked into it. And he's like, this object, if you look into it, you die. I guess.
Zach Bagans beats the hell out of a haunted doll and wonders why his house caught on fire or whatever happened.
God. Oh, that man gives me anxiety.
Poor man cursed Post Malone's life. He's doing country music now. Nothing good happens when you meet Zach Bagans. Zach, if you're watching this, I love you.
I love and fear and respect you.
I really think that might be everything that we've ever had. At least of, no. I'm sure we've had objects that were, kind of,
This is definitely
vague.
part one of...
Oh, yeah. We're definitely going to be discussing more of the haunted objects that we've gotten. Because we had plenty of objects that were given to us by the Fae. But that's an episode of itself.
Oh, my God. A Fae episode would go so hard.
Yeah, if you have any episodes involving your experience with the Fae, please let us know. Because
Any episodes?
If you have any experiences with the Fae, please let us know, because I would love to make an entire episode about that.
All right, I guess that will wrap up. This is a long episode. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is.
I guess that'll wrap up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening, and please send us your stories.
Absolutely, please.
And follow us on all of our social medias, and we'll be here every single Friday at 8 a.m. EST.
Yep.
All right. Bye.